The settlement was supposed to bury the truth, but the documents just leaked, and the narrative is officially in freefall. What Blake Lively thought was a clean exit has turned into a reputational nightmare that no amount of PR can fix. Every detail she tried to keep behind closed doors is now flooding the internet, and the court of public opinion is issuing a much harsher verdict than any judge ever could. This isn't just about a legal dispute anymore. It's about a complete collapse of a carefully crafted Hollywood image that took decades to build. The bombshells are dropping faster than her team can delete the evidence, and the latest shift in direction has everyone questioning what really happened behind the scenes. It started with the idea that she would emerge as a resilient survivor, a figure who stood her ground and came out on top. Instead, the narrative has curdled into something far more chaotic and damaging. Social media users are dissecting the timing of her settlement with surgical precision, calling it one of the most deceptive moves in the entire saga. The theory circulating in every commentary thread is that Blake waited until the absolute final stages of litigation to settle specifically to prevent certain information from becoming public. While these are interpretations rather than confirmed facts, the sheer volume of discussion has turned this strategic legal move into a massive PR liability that she never saw coming. The legal strategy seemed airtight until the public started noticing the receipts. Across forums and commentary threads, people are speculating that the move to settle wasn't about finding peace, but about stopping the clock on discovery. They believe she was terrified of what would become publicly visible if the process continued for even one more week. This theory alone has fueled endless discussion about whether her key decisions were driven by legal necessity or a desperate PR strategy to save her brand. The gap between her early messaging and the final resolution has become the central reason the case continues to trend, proving that a legal win can still be a massive public loss if the timing feels off. One of the most telling signs of trouble came from her own legal team's behavior on social media. A celebratory LinkedIn post made by her attorneys at a crucial stage of the dispute suddenly vanished without explanation. This sparked immediate speculation about whether the firm realized they had misread the room. In the original framing, the firm used high-stakes, symbolic language about accountability and legal retaliation. They were using emotionally charged terminology typical of high-profile celebrity litigation, but as the public reaction turned sour, that confidence started to look like arrogance. The deletion of that post suggested that even the experts were starting to panic about the evolving narrative. The perception of the settlement outcome itself has become a major point of debate across every entertainment platform. Some online posts claim that Blake Lively didn't actually receive a single cent in direct financial compensation. While settlement structures in celebrity litigation are famously complex, the public perception is that she walked away with far less than she expected. This perceived gap between her team's early aggressive messaging and the final quiet resolution has damaged her credibility. Many users are now reframing the entire situation through a reputational lens, suggesting that modern celebrity disputes are no longer judged by a judge, but by the perceived authenticity of the players involved. As the legal battle cooled, the scrutiny on her personal branding reached a fever pitch. Social media users are now analyzing every interview, promotional appearance, and personal post for inconsistencies. Some observers argue that her recent content feels more carefully curated and artificial than ever before, which is the exact opposite of what she needs right now. Her supporters counter that any celebrity would face intensified scrutiny during a controversy, but the consensus is shifting against her. People are looking for a crack in the armor, and the more she tries to control the story, the more the audience pushes back. It's a hyper-scrutinized visibility loop that seems impossible to escape. Even Ryan Reynolds hasn't been able to stay out of the crosshairs. As this story continues to evolve, users are revisiting his older interviews and public persona elements through a much more critical lens. Much of this discourse centers around how their joint celebrity branding has been used as a shield for years. Now, even previously lighthearted or comedic moments are being reinterpreted under the shadow of current events. It's a common phenomenon in the social media age, where context is constantly rewritten by new scandals. What used to be seen as charming is now being labeled as strategic or performative, showing how quickly a power couple's stock can drop when the public feels misled. The situation has expanded into a much wider celebrity ecosystem, with users connecting Hollywood social circles into broader theories. Names of other major figures are popping up as people look for signs of shifting relationships or public distancing. While most of this exists in rumor-driven spaces, the perception of social alignment is everything in Hollywood. If other stars start to distance themselves, it confirms the public's worst suspicions regardless of the facts. This is the real danger of the digital age. A single controversy can generate an ongoing analysis that extends far beyond the original legal scope, turning into a conversation about trust, identity, and who your real friends are. Nowhere is this tension more visible than in the dissected relationship between Blake Lively and author Colin Hoover. What was initially presented as a warm, creative partnership is being re-examined as a complicated professional hierarchy shaped by branding and influence. According to online observers, unsealed documents suggest a far more intense power dynamic behind the scenes of their high-profile film production. In this interpretation, Blake appeared to take a dominant role in shaping the creative direction, while Colin was perceived as being more deferential. The shift from a collaborative tone to one of perceived control has become one of the most discussed aspects of the entire fallout. Some of the message exchanges that have leaked are being described as emotionally charged and unusually intense for a standard collaboration. In these texts, Colleen Hoover allegedly expressed deep gratitude for just being included in the process, while Blake's responses were seen as more assertive and expansive. This has led to a massive debate about how power dynamics work in celebrity creative partnerships. While some argue that expressive communication is common in the arts, others see it as a clear sign of influence and emotional validation seeking. When these fragmented excerpts are viewed without full context, they paint a picture of a relationship that was anything but equal. The drama escalated when narratives began framing the exchange in even more dramatic terms, suggesting a shifting professional dependency. These interpretations portray Colleen as someone eager to maintain a positive relationship at any cost, while Blake is seen as emphasizing the emotional framing of her own experience. These are subjective readings, but in a viral discourse environment, they become established truth very quickly. Every private communication that gets reinterpreted out of context adds another layer to the scandal. The more the public sees of these behind-the-scenes interactions, the more they believe the public-facing version of their friendship was a carefully constructed lie. Ryan Reynolds' role in the promotional activity has also come under fire after a specific apology-style message surfaced. Originally, it was seen as a polite and supportive gesture within a professional setting, but now the internet sees it through a suspicious lens. This shift highlights how even the most innocent celebrity actions are recontextualized once a controversy gains traction. A recurring theory suggests that the production relied heavily on Colleen Hoover's fanbase during the early stages, only to distance themselves once the promotional phase concluded. There's no verified evidence for this intentional distancing, but the perception alone has been enough to trigger a massive backlash. The fallout has even reached the co-stars, with actors like Brandon Sklenar being frequently mentioned in the crossfire. Early in the controversy, several public figures made statements supporting Blake, but those posts are now being criticized as premature or biased. In a move that hasn't gone unnoticed, some of these figures have quietly reduced the visibility of those posts or deleted them entirely. This silent retreat has become another major point of speculation for fans who are tracking every move. It suggests that even those within Blake's inner circle are starting to realize that the narrative has shifted too far to be salvaged by a simple statement of support. Colleen Hoover's own social media presence has changed dramatically during the height of this controversy. Users have noted her reduced visibility and perceived distancing behaviors, reading her silence as a symbolic choice rather than a neutral break. In the world of celebrity gossip, silence is often louder than words, and her inactivity is being interpreted as a sign of a fractured relationship. Other public figures connected to the film are being drawn into the fray, with fans debating whether their early support was based on incomplete information. It's a domino effect where one person's reputational hit starts to threaten everyone else involved in the project. One of the most consistent themes in this entire saga is how quickly a narrative can evolve once additional information enters the sphere. Early reporting was shaped by emotionally driven media coverage, which led many people to form immediate opinions. But as alleged communications and alternative interpretations emerged, the discourse became significantly more fragmented. Now, different communities hold sharply conflicting views of the same events, making it impossible for Blake to ever truly clear her name. Even after the settlement discussions officially concluded, the internet continues to analyze the situation as if it's an active case, proving that legal resolutions mean nothing in the digital age. This ongoing engagement reflects a broader pattern where legal outcomes do not resolve public debate. The concepts of justice and accountability are being redefined by social media users who refuse to let the story die. At the same time, this situation has triggered a wave of industry anxiety, with major studios becoming increasingly cautious about how their stars behave. Observers at international events like the Cannes Film Festival have noted a shift from confident, glamorous presentations toward more carefully managed and guarded appearances. Celebrities are terrified of becoming the next viral target, and Blake Lively has become the ultimate cautionary tale for the modern era. The atmosphere in Hollywood has reportedly shifted because the old control systems simply don't work anymore. In the past, studios and publicists could manage a press cycle with polished reviews and controlled access. Today, a single awkward clip or an underwhelming interview can spread globally in seconds, defining a film's reputation before it even hits theaters. This loss of control is what makes the Blake Lively situation so significant. It's a clear example of how audience sentiment can harden before a marketing campaign even begins. Memes form instantly, and once a label like boring or overhyped sticks, it's nearly impossible to wash away. Even routine schedule changes for other stars are now being viewed through this lens of suspicion. For example, when Jacob Elordi withdrew from a prestigious jury appointment at Cannes due to a reported foot injury, the internet didn't just accept it. Paparazzi images later surfaced showing him walking comfortably in Hawaii, leading to intense speculation that the injury was just a PR cover for personal time. Whether the injury was real or not, the reaction showed how quickly audiences now form assumptions about celebrity behavior. The trust has been so thoroughly eroded that every official statement is now treated as a potential lie designed to manage public perception. This broader anxiety about perception is why the Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds situation is referenced so frequently in industry circles. It serves as a reminder of how quickly admiration can turn into skepticism once an audience feels they are being managed. While public personas are naturally shaped by teams, modern audiences are hypersensitive to anything that feels overly engineered. They are willing to support public figures, but only if they feel a sense of authenticity. The moment people suspect a narrative is being constructed to guide their emotional response, that trust evaporates. Small details like a deleted comment now carry massive weight. Celebrities now find themselves operating in a hyper-scrutinized visibility loop where every action is reinterpreted through the lens of whatever controversy is currently trending. Even neutral or unrelated behavior can be assigned a dark meaning depending on the timing. This environment makes it incredibly difficult for stars to move past a scandal, as the internet constantly pulls them back in for more analysis. The legal settlement was supposed to be the end of the road, but for Blake, it was just the beginning of a new chapter of digital scrutiny. She is no longer just an actress, she is a case study in how not to handle a modern PR crisis. The underlying reality is that audiences are no longer passive observers of celebrity culture. They are active participants in shaping the narrative in real time. Once a perception forms, it can be extremely difficult for even the most powerful public figures to reset it. The Cannes conversations, the Jacob Elordi speculation, and the ongoing Blake Lively discourse all point to a world where the public holds the real power. Studios can spend millions on marketing, but a few viral TikTok edits can tear it all down in an afternoon. This is the new Hollywood, where the court of public opinion never adjourns and the final verdict is never truly reached. As more unsealed documents and leaked messages continue to surface, the gap between the truth and the PR version of events will likely continue to widen. Every new piece of content reshapes the entire story, making the previous explanations look even more suspect. The real shift in this situation isn't the legal proceedings themselves, but the way public perception continues to reshape the narrative long after the official statements are made. Blake Lively may have settled her case in court, but she is still fighting for her life in the digital world. It's a battle she wasn't prepared for, and one that she might not be able to win. Ultimately, the transformation of celebrity culture means that trust is the only currency that matters. When that trust is broken by strategic delays, deleted posts, and perceived power imbalances, no settlement can fix the damage. The lesson from this entire saga is that authenticity cannot be manufactured, and attempts to do so will eventually be exposed by a hyper-connected audience. Blake Lively's story is a warning to every major star that the old rules of Hollywood are dead. In the age of instant information, the only way to survive a bombshell is to be honest from the start, because the internet always finds a way to uncover what was meant to stay hidden.